From 1981 to 1984, a small but mighty group of river lovers staged an historic campaign to convince the federal government to protect forever an 83-mile stretch of the Tuolumne River from a dam project that would have drowned out a world-class whitewater run, trout fishing grounds, and wildlife habitat. This mighty beginning of the Tuolumne River Trust kicked off a new era of river conservation in the West as the Tuolumne River became part of the federally protected Wild and Scenic River system.
Marty McDonnell is 33 years old. He's been rafting the Tuolumne since he was 15 and now has his own rafting company.
See, the experience that people have on this is more than just a amusement park ride. It's an interlude with nature, and people have an experience here that is really quite valuable in many ways that is not so definable in dollars. I certainly look at my experience here as worth much more than the money I make.
You think it'd be a sad thing if this river was dammed up any more than it already is?
It'd be like seeing the country's art museums, buried in the ground.
Shooting a rapid will slip you into the present like no other experience will. I mean, you're not worrying about your income tax, you're not worrying about your paycheck. People meditate for years to try and get into that state. River will put you there in a second.
Faith in the Wild and Scenic Act and the criteria that it establishes in terms of further development.
So is the Tuolumne a priceless national treasure, or is it not?
We have the power to destroy it, but never, never in our wildest imagination could we ever recreate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am pleased to add my voice in support of the California Wilderness Bill. This legislation will add magnificent acres of national forest lands to the nation's wilderness system to be protected forever. In addition, H.R. 1437 designates the Tuolumne as a wild and scenic river. I have been on the Tuolumne with my family and several of my colleagues, and it is indeed wild and magnificent. My fear as I rafted down that river was that my grandchildren would never have that opportunity. Now my fears will be unfounded as we pass this great legislation. I am also pleased that this legislation protects the family camps located on the tributaries of the Tuolumne and ensures that any development activity not adversely affect the camps.
We're going to offer as an amendment legislation that will have the effect of, first, conferring upon the Tuolumne River the protection of wild and scenic status.
Now, 30 years later, California is facing one of the worst droughts on record. Reservoirs are at near record lows. Massive wildfires are blazing once again. The state's most important drought reserve, groundwater, is being pumped at alarming rates, and water releases from the dam just below the Wild and Scenic section of river are as low as is allowed by federal regulations, a trend that is sure to continue until the rains return to replenish our rivers and streams. On the Tuolumne, this low water is putting habitat for many sensitive species at risk and allowing invasive species like water hyacinth to flourish, blocking entire sections of the river. Once again, just like during the Wild and Scenic campaign, it will be up to us to protect the watershed, this time from the impacts of serious drought. To protect our beloved watershed from the devastating impacts of serious drought, Tuolumne River Trust is leading the charge towards collaborative, sustainable solutions. Our classroom and outdoor education programs, along with events like Paddle to the Sea, are changing the playing field by teaching wise water use and inspiring better river stewardship. We are making sure our current and future decision makers know that their water comes from a living, flowing river and what they can do to use water wisely. Programs aimed at getting sound groundwater management policies in place across the watershed will ensure we're not overtapping our best drought reserves or tipping the delicate balance too far. These new policies, along with new recycled water and water conservation projects, will ensure a sustainable water future for everyone who relies on the river. By working with the Stanislaus National Forest Service and other nonprofits in the Sierra, we are ensuring rimfire recovery efforts are environmentally sound and that future forest management takes into account the impact that massive wildfires can have on a watershed like the Tuolumne. To continue this important work, we need your support. Please join us in our campaign to ensure a sustainable water future and protect our watershed from drought by making a donation today at www.tuolumne.org.